Good afternoon and welcome to episode 33 of UncommonCents. Dean Holmes and Craig Kouimanis here, and we have our second Craig on today. So there'll be a little bit of confusion as we go through, but thank you, Craig Apps, for joining us. Craig is Chief Product and Innovation Officer at Hub24. I don't know whether product or innovation goes first, Craig, but we'll get to the bottom of that. Craig's jumped on today to talk to us about the technology that Hub is doing in terms of forward thinking, as well as this came about because last week we were chatting about the acquisition of My Prosperity and just what that means for the context of client portals and mobile phone technology and mobile phones in advice practices. So welcome, Craig Apps, and hi, Craig Kouimanis. I hope you're well. Craig Apps, do you want to just give us sort of the 10-20 second intro to yourself and what is going on in your world? And then Craig Kouimanis will run us through the first question for today.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, thanks for getting me along. So I'm Chief Product and Innovation Officer. I picked up that job earlier this year. I'm in my 7th year at Hub now. Prior to this gig, I started up and headed up the Innovation Lab at Hub. So I was the head of the Innovation Lab for about 3 years. And pre that, I was part of the Agility Applications team. So myself and Paul Biggs, who's actually the CIO for Hub24, we founded a company back in 2007 called Agility Applications, which was in financial services technology, predominantly on the capital market side of the world. And Hub was one of our clients, actually, long-term client of ours, and they liked us so much and us buying us. So we joined them in 2017, and that's what I do.
Awesome. Over to you, Craig.
Fantastic. Good afternoon, everyone. Craig, let me start by complimenting you on your name. What a great name, and we'll be just fine. It'll be Dean that gets confused. But mate, my first question for you is this kind of chicken and egg, cart before the horse kind of thing around people and technology. And I know, there's individuals in tech and then there's businesses in tech. And I just want you to take us through your thoughts on people leaping into stuff, either personally or from a business perspective, thinking it's going to instantly fix it, and whether there's things they need to do before they do that jump.
So given my gig has been innovation for years and years and years, and we founded a technology company, and the only reason we founded it was because Paul and I wanted to get a new laptop and phone every 3 months. My approach has always been leaping into technology feet first. But we get asked, and again, I've been in the industry for 30 odd years now, and we get asked that question regularly when we're talking to our clients and practices about how they should approach technology. And it's sort of changed. It's changed a lot in the last 5 to 10 years. And I think it's changed because the way people day to day work with technology has fundamentally changed. I mean, if I look back in the 90s, I won't even talk about my age, it's pre-internet times, but then you go through PCs and then the rise of the internet and then the rise of the mobile channel and stuff like that. So everyone who is now becoming of professional age in their 25s, early 25s, that they've only known the mobile world. They've interacted with technology every day for multiple hours. And they're so used to it. It's completely ubiquitous to them. So how you approach it from your business point of view needs to reflect that the people who are working in your business is really, and your clients are used to that sort of engagement with technology. Like I've got, on my phone, I've probably got about 120 apps. And of those 120 apps, I probably use maybe 20 regularly, and I dabble in the others occasionally, and I'm continually loading new ones in and deleting ones and things like that. So that's the environment I'm used to at home, and that's the environment I'm used to at work. I'm always looking for better ways to do my work. So I'm always trialing different apps and different tools to use, and I'm talking to people about different tools, and I give it a go and I let it go. So there's that part of the environment, but for that to work in a business, especially a small business, and I was a small business owner, you need some disciplines around how you set your tech stack up. And the core piece of all of this technology to work, just like your phone to work, you're either going to go Apple or you're going to go Android. So it's either iOS or Android as your operating system. You need a solid technology operating system for your business. Okay. And when I talk about a solid technology operating system for your business, fundamentally it gets down to data and security. Okay. You're generating on behalf of your clients and your business piles of data all of the time. Now that's your data and your client's data, and you use that data to drive your business forward. Now, you do not want to, as a small business, be building that data infrastructure, okay? Regardless, people might come into your business and you get some SMEs in and they go, come on, we can build a data warehouse and we can store it in SQL here and we can run the servers in the cloud. That is a disaster, okay? Because that's not your skill set. That's not what you want to do. Once you actually flip that rock over, all sorts of things run. So it has to be secure. The data, you need 2, 3, 4 engineers. You're up for millions of dollars really quickly. So you don't want to do any of that. And it doesn't really benefit your clients, and it's going to waste a lot of your time. So for our clients, we would focus their technology, and you've only got limited spend. So you want to focus your technology. One, you want to find a really good data and operating system partner. So be it a platform, be it a technology provider, you just want someone who you trust is going to look after your data, look after the security of that data, and most importantly of all, make that data available to you. Because you want to actually use that data for lots of different things. You want to plug it into your accounting system in your GL, you want to plug it into your CRM, you want to plug it into your marketing tool, and you want to change your tools. You don't want to be beholden to one specific tool. Something better comes along, you want to jump on that, and you want to use the data that's actually in your business operating system. So there's two conversations.
Yep.
Have a real think about your data operating system as a business. Make sure your partner is open. Make sure your partner doesn't charge you for access to your own data. I get really pent up when people do that sort of stuff. I mean, you have to have the realization that no one partner is going to give you every piece of technology. It just doesn't happen. No one delivers that. That's just the way it works. So they need to make your data available. They have to be trusted. They have to be secure. And you're on the hook if your data gets breached. The reality is, from a hub point of view, our expectation, we would have 30 people maybe in cybersecurity and cyber resilience in the firm now. I can't think of the exact number. We actually did a full crisis management rehearsal the other day. It's costly. It costs a lot. So quiz your provider on that. Be really comfortable. Look for the certifications. All the best providers will have ISO 27001. They'll meet all the necessary data requirements. We've sort of got consumer data right looming on the horizon if it ever gets properly regulated, which is what's funding. I mean, if we look what's happening in Europe around data privacy there and GDPR, the expectation that regime will come to Australia and will be regulated. It's an opt-in regime at the moment. Once that gets regulated, the whole data world changes. So we're thinking about that. So you don't want to play in that space. You want to play in the space that brings business in your door and makes your clients happy. And
absolutely,
Craig. Stuff.
Yeah. We're meant to be full-time financial advisors, and so this idea that we're part-time technologists shouldn't be our focus. The bit that you spoke about everyone's got their mobile phones in their hand. So this is a bit of an interesting thing, which links to the My Prosperity acquisition in terms of having a client portal on your mobile phone. Talk to us about the things that your mobile phone is in that context that the browser isn't.
Yep. So the My Prosperity transaction is really, we've been working with the My Prosperity guys for years and years and years. We've really liked their technology. I'd say all providers in financial advice space have pretty much dropped the ball and fallen behind as far as mobile channels go. Because when you compare them to the banks and when you compare them to every other app I use, like, if I use Uber or if I use, all my various fast food apps or any of those sort of things, whilst we rank ourselves amongst our peers and we get really happy when we become number one, we're like number 1,000 compared to the mobile space. And we really need to fix it up. And the one financial area we do get benchmarked against, and again, from our client's point of view, is they're not benchmarking a hub against the net wealth, who's got the best mobile app. They're benchmarking hub against my banking provider.
Mm.
And we are so far behind, because they're the two financial apps every one of your clients will use every day. And they're going, oh, the hub app is clunky. My bank is spectacular. So the My Prosperity transaction was about us accelerating and bringing our mobile channel to where it needs to be. Because the reality of the situation is I do not get any of my financial advice today sitting at a desktop. I get everything in my mobile phone because it's in my hand all the time. I want to see what my balance is. I want to do a cash transfer. My accountant's rung me and wants to know, what that share price was and all that sort of gear. I'm doing that on my mobile phone. Okay.
Or, you're able to access all the 100% of your information through your mobile, and that's the most convenient way in which you can do it. Yeah. And from what we were talking about earlier, it's actually more secure than your computer.
Yeah. So the banks themselves, I don't know if I've done the exercise just to sit at a desktop and use their banking desktop apps. Those apps deliver you less features than the mobile. I do real-time cash transfers on my mobile, and I bank with 3 different providers. I can't do real cash transfers on my desktop through a browser because it's a less secure device.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they want you to use the mobile. They're a mobile-first business. Everything they build now, as far as reaching out to their customers, is using the mobile channel.
Yep.
And be that a mobile channel by me firing up an app or talking to the phone, that's the way I'm going to deliver all of my instructions to my financial provider.
Mm.
And from a hub point of view, we view investment in mobile as a really critical strategy to give our clients the tools they need for their clients. We also view mobile as the great unlock to completely automating our operational processes. So, and what I'm talking about there is, Hub's business, almost half of our staff are technologists, and then probably, another, probably 30% of our staff are operations people.
Yep.
Mm.
So we're an admin services business. We do all that processing. We get thousands and thousands of client and advisor instructions coming in our door all of the time, and that triggers operations processes. That we've got a whole lot of people at Hub, and we've got a call center. We've got all these things going. We've got a whole lot of people Hub processing this information. Now we've got a goal that if we've captured the information digitally via an app, there should be no reason that doesn't instantaneously process.
Mm.
Okay, and that's an aspirational goal, and we're a long way away from that goal. But the key to making that work is we can't force someone to sit at a desktop and say you have to key in the instructions sitting at a desktop, because they're going, we're not going to do that. We're going to do it in our mobile, because it's always in my hand, no matter where I am. Every aspect.
Yep.
Even if I'm sitting on the loo, it's in my hand all of the time. So I can do anything, anytime in that mobile phone. So the key to the mobile is it unlocks complete automation, and that's how we're doing it.
And so is that like an interesting future example of that? Like if I were a consumer and wanted to call Hub24 at the moment, I obviously dial your phone number, and then the call center has to verify my identity. I tell the account number, someone types it in, I tell a date of birth, et cetera, until we're confident that we trust one another is who we say we are. Mm. If we flip that around and go, well, I go into the app, whatever it might be in this future state, to call you, the security authentication has already happened by virtue of me being able to access the app through my phone.
Mm-hmm.
So you would say, hello, Dean, when I picked up, and you would almost you could potentially trust that I am who I say I am from that second.
Yeah, and you could use a whole lot of different technologies there to actually facilitate that conversation.
Mm.
Again, I mean, personally, I find myself, again, when I'm dealing with my providers, I much prefer dealing on chat, just typing in things, and that sort of turns away in the corner, and they'll ask me a question, I'll answer a question, but I'll still go do whatever I want to do. I mean, that is when I'm sitting at work and I'm sitting on a desktop. I find it a really effective way,
Mm.
and so I think there'll be lots of different delivery mechanisms, but you're absolutely right. If we facilitate the interaction from when I've actually gone through the security checking, it just makes everything so much more frictionless. It just makes everything so much easier as far as validation of who you are, confirmation of where you want to go, what you want to do, who you need to speak to. I mean, yeah, we're looking really, again, I'm sort of going to go a bit further in our innovation space. We're looking at really interesting things in our innovation space, because you'd argue, I have this conversation with people who go, I don't think it'll be too far away, but I don't understand when I actually open up my phone, it doesn't know what I want to do. When I flip my phone
automatically, yeah,
it knows the time of day it is, knows what I normally do, it knows what I want to do. If I click that app, why do I have to click another thing? Doesn't it come up and work it out for me? We've been doing, in the lab, we were doing some experiments with automatically, and we're seeing, I think you see this now through a lot of the apps, that the actual interface changes because it knows, on my phone itself, it'll bring up the apps it expects me to use at this time.
Yep.
So the next step from there is, okay, actually, why does I even have to do that? Why don't it just doesn't do it? And then just ask me, are you okay with that? And I go, yeah, I'm all good. Let's go. That's where I think interaction's going. And we've been doing lots of work in our labs around that space, around building models that we can recognize a person by what they're doing to identify, are you an advisor? Are you an ops? Are you the financial? Are you a client? What have you done? This is what you're going to do next. This space, and again, it's exactly how I interact with Netflix. It's how I interact with Apple TV. This is the expectation that our users are going to want from us in the experience. It's really exciting.
Absolutely, Craig. I like that one in the concept of if an advisor was going to lose a client, there would be certain activities that with the data, there would be certain activities that you would know that the client would do ahead of sacking the advisor in a really frank way. They would maybe look at the performance, the fees, download some reports, do 5 or 6 different activities that would then be like a leading indicator to this client has some concerns. You would know that data, Craig, because you actually know when clients leave or change an advisor. You could then backtrack and do that. And so this idea of using that sentiment analysis of things that are going on in the client files, not only to serve them what they want before they knew they wanted it, but actually to serve the advisor to go, this client is doing these activities and they're logging in too much, they spend too much time logged in, blah, 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 blah. Here's some forward-thinking activity.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got a whole lab, part of the innovation lab, we've got a dedicated team. Actually, we've got a little startup company we created in there called Helisoc, and that's one of the use cases we've been working on. And that use case of looking at all the metadata of interactions, because we've got a set of behavior that'll go back to the whole relationship, and if all of a sudden it changes, you go, why is it changing? And then you've got all of the other data that's showing when someone's done that sort of change, we've seen this happen. It's not even, that's a negative view, but you'd also argue, if we're pulling in all the data from banking and all that sort of gear, if we see a big pile of money land in the client's account, surely the advisor should be immediately having a conversation with them about it, rather than, and again, I think we're on this cusp of everyone has to go and find the stuff at the moment. I think actually, funnily enough, the ChatGPT probably actually reflects more of this more and more. All the information's there, but you have to go and find it. So we're on this cusp of this slowly changing to, no, here's what you need to know. So you don't have to find it anymore. You go, I want to know if a client looks like they're about to leave. I want to know if a client's circumstances have changed. I want to know all of this information about how we're interacting. And when it happens, I want to be alerted, and I don't want to be told the things I should be doing and given the tools to approach them straight away or initiate bots they're going to do sort of stuff. So this level of knowledge of data and then automation is the really exciting stuff. That's probably driving a lot of our, research activities.
Yeah, cool. Craig, can you take us inside the innovation lab a little bit more? Lots of advisors and stuff that are listening probably see stuff at the end or as you're ready to test it and stuff, but we don't actually get to see what's going on inside the innovation lab and how that works. Can you give us a bit of a preview as to what's going on and how you sort of plan things and test things and come up with ideas inside that lab?
Yeah, absolutely. It was really, it's great fun. So Hub sort of would have been 2019, maybe, made a call to set up the innovation lab, because before that, Hub pretty much approached innovation the same way all sort of small to medium-sized companies do it. You're all super busy, especially in high growth. You're super busy, everyone's doing something, then someone goes, oh, hang on, we should do something about machine learning. Then we go, great, cool, yeah, let's do something about machine learning. So grab all the smartest people in the company, drag them into a room, go, let's do a workshop on machine learning. And we go, yeah, cool, come up with these great ideas and use cases, assign tasks to people. And then, a week goes by, a month goes by, and then there's the realization that actually all the smartest people in the company are also the busiest people in the company. And they're having to prioritize all of these activities, and they're going, oh, here's a new client with $1 billion to transition, here's a big support issue, or here's a research activity on machine learning. And that just gets punted down, those activities just get punted down the queue. So you become successful, and then you become static in innovation until you actually accept that if you want to be innovative, you have to treat it like your finance department and your HR department. You have to actually put money aside, have people make that their day job. So we made a call. We said, right, let's do the innovation lab. We're gonna give Craig, it's your gig, which is a really good gig, because again, I had no staff. I go, this is fantastic, and I've got no measures, no KPIs. Just be innovative. I go, oh, this is the best job in the world. Here's a budget. It wasn't massive, but it was a couple of $1 million.
It's a good scorecard. 100% be innovative.
Yeah, that was awesome. And it was really, got a few people in with me, and we just sat there, and people would fire, what do you think about this? The board would continually drop things in the lap. Executives come in, we talk to clients. So you have the hype machines that's happening. So all the different hype stuff. So then you just get the time to just do research, to look at it in detail, get below that next level. So end of 21, start of 22, we did a 4-month research project on distributed ledgers and blockchain, because I was requested from the board, what are we doing in this space? And I just spent, it was a really interesting time. We've got actually active programs with universities. We do a lot of work with unis. We have a very active project partnership with Google. So they're our preferred cloud provider, but we also do a lot of research stuff with them as well. So we just talked to lots of people, clients, industry, research. And it was all about creating a white paper, doing a presentation. In the end, I did the board presentation, took them through, this is what blockchain is, this is how it works, this is how distributed ledgers works, blah, blah, blah. And our position was really interesting technology, collaborative technology. We still don't get it. We don't think it's worthwhile investing anything in it yet.
Yeah.
Not applicable for us. And that was good. And that was it. That was the end. So that gets parked on the shelf. We keep an eye on it. So you have to be happy that a lot of the things we do, nothing comes of it. But at least we've formed a position and all that sort of stuff. But then if something does come of it, that's when it gets really exciting, because then what we actually go, so machine learning, unlike blockchain, again, we made a call. We viewed that as a core technology for Hub because it is a data-driven technology. We're a data business. We act as custodians of data on behalf of all our clients and their clients. So it's a really important job for us. We've got massive teams that just focus on data. So machine learning naturally is a technology. So we, even pre the machine learning innovation lab in mid-2018, we made a call. We needed to develop a capability. And again, I got the gig for that. So that sort of flowed into the innovation lab. Anyway, so because we believed that was technology, we then went to that next layer. So you sort of go, we get the ideas in the front door and they come from everywhere. Then we do the research, which is quite interesting. And then you sort of go another layer down. Each layer we go down, it's just that funnel's getting smaller and smaller because things are dropping off the edges. When you get to the next layer, we go, okay, now let's start playing with it. So we build prototypes, we build proof of concepts. The nice thing about the lab is it's isolated from all of our other technology stacks. So we can bring whatever technology we want into play. There's disciplines, but we have a much more freedom than the rest of the company because we are a research lab. So we typically will grab key client partners. We'll go out to our key client partners, be them internal or external. We go, look, we're going to play with this technology. Here's some prototypes and ideas we think could fly. And then we just build these things. They're held together with string and sticky tape, and it's really to get a concept across.
Yep.
And then as that forms, and then they will create different product ideas, and then we'll test the product idea. And then once we get to that final point, we go, yes, we can make something of this. We can commercialize that. So the lab's created a few different things.
What's your favorite? What's your little baby that you've cultivated that actually exists now that you can tell us?
Oh, there's a whole pile of stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, the initial. So I'll finish that final piece off. So once it gets that final piece, and then I go, here you go, product, you go do something now, and I'll go off and play with the new shiny thing, and they have to do all the hard stuff. So we've got a lot of products now that are using machine learning models. It's quite invisible to our clients. We've done a stack of work in the unstructured data space. So many of our activities operationally are driven by forms. And when I talk about unstructured data, so I'll go back a step. Unstructured data is all the digital data in the world. So everything we save, right? Okay. There's two types of data. There's structured data and there's unstructured data. Structured data is data that's got a structure about it. So it's in a spreadsheet, it's in a database, it's entered through a system and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
That probably represents about 10 to 15% of the world's digital data. The rest of the data is unstructured. So it's documents, videos, pictures, text, voice, all of that sort of stuff. And unstructured data is really hard to work with because you can't pull the data out to do something with it because you don't know where it is. It always looks different and all that sort of stuff. So we've done a lot of work and built a lot of models on turning unstructured data into structured data.
Yep.
And the drivers behind, this sounds quite boring, but it's actually really exciting. The drivers behind this is so much of our work comes in forms and documents. And then to make the next step happen, or, someone has to go into that form and document and pull the data points out.
Take the unstructured and structure it manually. Yeah.
So we've trained these models that not only can see a new document come in, they can actually then pull that document apart, put that structured data into a database, and then we can have systems running off that.
Yep.
We've got lots of models in that space. We're actually in the process now we offer a non-custody service, and a big part of our non-custody service is mailbox processing. So effectively, every piece of mail related to investments gets delivered to our GPO box and then gets dropped into operations. So during dividend season, we get between 20 and 40,000 envelopes a day. That
can a machine open the envelopes and unfold a piece of paper and scan it?
So we've now built, in partnership with Ozpost. Ozpost have a service called Decipher, where they will actually digitize your mail into PDFs, and then they drop it onto a secure server. So we've turned that on with Ozpost. So now all of our mail comes in as PDFs. That then goes into our machine learning infrastructure, and that the models recognize what the envelope is, what that piece of mail is related to. And there's 40 different mail types we get in. So it works out what it is. And then based on what it is, it then passes it to different models depending on what you want to do it, to pull the right pieces of data out. And then we pass that information on to our robots. So another thing that came out of the machine learning innovation lab was we did a lot of work on robotic process automation. We've now got a whole division at Hub dedicated to robotic process automation.
Yeah.
So we then pass that information to our robots, and our robots automatically process it. So we've gone from getting 20 to 40,000 physical pieces of mail to a piece of mail now comes in digitally and is processed within seconds.
So Australia Post still charges $1.10. They're only doing half the job. Like, I post the envelope, it only gets to Australia Post and then it stops. Doesn't actually make its way to your office.
No, well, they have a whole pile of people doing the opening the envelope and scanning it for us.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So they have it. We don't have a machine yet to do that part.
No, actually, I've got these secure facilities in all the major capitals.
Yeah.
And you walk in there and there's all these people. I mean, they've got these, massive scanners and stuff like that, but they're physically having to collate mail together and put it together, feed it into the machines. Yeah.
The modern day postie.
Yeah, that's how the post is. That's exactly right.
Yeah,
they're no longer a motorbike.
The next evolution
sitting there on
is
giant scanners.
just to work with computer share to cut out the actual printing and posting of the first bit.
Yeah.
At some point in time.
Yeah.
Craig, you go.
Oh no.
It was the last thing it's been a really good discussion, Craig, because the way in which we've always worked, I think, as advisors is all around the review, whatever the service that we've created in our mind and then sold to our clients. It's all based around this review, which has been very much reactive. Like, Mr. Client, come in, give us an update of what's going on in your situation. And based on that update, we will react by giving you advice. And so this changing that you're seeing and then that we have to, as advisors, have to respond to in our world is to actually go, the review is not the one thing that we do anymore because we're constantly proactive. So if we've got always on data, so always up to date data that's sending its stuff to the advisor and giving us the alert when things change, i.e. money arrives or dividend season or increased searching on the app for information, then it means that advisors become these really proactive people that reach out to the clients all the time going, I noticed that this is happening. How can I help?
Yeah, I mean, we were looking at another piece of technology actually with Diverger, and it's all around, again, it's combining, it's recording, because everyone's now recording their conversations, all our advisors and clients, be it by video or be it by, they're just dropping their phone on the desk and recording the transcript. So we started up a project about how good are the transcription services, what can we do there? We actually found a really cool startup who's done some work on video and embedding that recording into Teams and then actually real time creating the transcript and picking out, using machine learning capabilities to pick out issues and actions and then storing them as events that you will then follow on. So I can see a world where you actually, the advice, it'll be a conversation, and that conversation will be recorded. And all of the key events in that conversation that you're having that you can't remember or haven't written down as part of your advice. So the whole driver behind this was we wanted to automate the advice note, the note process.
Yeah. Yep.
And rather than having to, have someone in the room with you or do a summary later or anything like that, just by being in that moment, it will record it, create the note, store it in your system. So I think that this guys we're looking at is just posting it in the X-Plan and then running tools across the note itself, because it's quite unstructured, and going, here's a set of issues and here's a set of actions, and they're now recorded with dates against them and you can follow them up. So no more. So it's all completely automated.
Yeah. And isn't that like a really great example of how advisors will still exist because people want human interaction?
Yes.
But you use the robots, you use the technology to make that interaction better. And so I've got more time, it's funny, robo-advisors seem to have that concept, that word disappeared, partly because there was no robots and there was no advice when they used to talk about it. But it's now really that turn of, no one's saying advisors disappear. They're just saying there's tools and innovation that can be put in place to help people see more clients.
Yes.
Which is fantastic direction for, I think, where we're heading with advice.
Yeah. I mean, you could get to a point where the conversation is recorded and then you just go to another conversation. Everything in that conversation. I mean, it might be my kid's birthday's coming up, in 2 years, they're going to turn 18, which is a really valuable piece of information from an advisor's point of view. And that's now logged and recorded and you don't have to worry about it, or you might have missed it. So it's quite an exciting time.
Yeah. And then you're doing, if you could speak about the investment recommendations and then that's logged, and actually already logged, analyzed, and checked through an engine, and then it's there when the client leaves the meeting with you. All they have to do is look on their phone and authorize it as they're going down the elevator after the meeting.
Yeah.
It could be that simple. So this has been a great conversation, Craig. We've run out of time for today, but we certainly appreciate your time. I think the big message is around innovation, and that innovation, whilst advisors we can get sucked down the vortex of trying to find solutions for ourselves. I think it's really refreshing to see that there's 300 humans across Hub as one example that are technologists, and then a huge portion of those that are in this innovation team that are really trying to solve problems for the entire advice community. They're not just trying to work out how they can do trades quicker in Hub. They're actually doing a lot to improve the entire process. So we really appreciate your time, Craig, coming on and having a chat to us today.
No, it's good fun. Thanks, guys.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thanks, everyone. See you next time.
Everyone. Bye.